Welcome to the Ultimate Farm Wife podcast. On this channel, we're going to be discussing all things marrying a farmer, moving to the land, and becoming integrated with a family farming operation. Whether you're moving to the farm for the first time or whether you're moving back into a family farming operation, we discuss the ins and the outs of all of it. So let's jump into today's episode. Welcome back to another episode of The Ultimate Farm Wife. I'm your host, Katja Williams, and today I'm talking with Jo. Jo, thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast today. Can you start by introducing yourself, your family, and your farm?
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm Jo Moore. I'm from Tenterfield in New South Wales, at the top end of New South Wales. I married a Pommy that was out here working on a farm in Chinchilla, and after a couple of years, we relocated back to my hometown of Tenterfield. We have 3 little boys, 6, 5, and just about to be 2. And we moved home to Tenterfield to start a poultry business. So we've got free range eggs and birds in rearing and a few cattle and stuff like that on the land.
Why did you go into chickens and beef?
Good
Why?
question. And we get asked that a lot. I come from cattle, so we've got black cattle, which I grew up on a property of, and it was always in agriculture. I went on to uni to study agribusiness and accounting in Armidale, hoping that I would probably go on to become some sort of farm consultant, help people with their books, that sort of area. Ended up in the mines, and then I went on to work for Morton Co., which is a big feedlot company up here. My husband did not come off the land. He did a lot of different things, but when he came out to Australia, he worked on a potato and an onion farm in South Australia, and then he went up to Chinchilla where he was in irrigation. So he dabbled in a lot of different things, and we were like, well, we eventually want to bring our family up on the land. How are we going to do that? It's very expensive to buy into land, as everyone would know. So we thought, well, we need to do something a bit intensive, and we thought about our skill sets and a few different industries, and we just landed on chickens. Which has turned out really great. There's so much technology in chickens that people don't even have any idea about, and they're super cute and super friendly, and everyone loves eggs. So it's been really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me about those early days when you decided we're going to do intensive farming practices, we're going to go into chickens. Did you lease some land? Did you buy a block? How did you start, and where is it up to now?
Yeah, so we leased a property not far away from my parents with intention to buy it. And we literally put a shovel in the ground and built our shed from scratch. I continued working for the feedlot company, and my husband was on the ground doing the earthworks, built the shed. Obviously, we had contractors in and stuff like that, but he pretty much put everything together. And there was another egg farm in our local town, and we started selling to them because we didn't have a brand. We were a bit nervous about that step, and it turned out that was probably the easiest thing we ever did. It's really easy to get into. You literally just have to walk into a cafe and say, look, these are our eggs. Do you want to try them? And if they like them, they sign up. So we came up with a brand and started selling under our own name, which has been really good. And we now sell probably 80% of our product under our own name, and a little bit extra goes to another customer down the coast. Just it saves us having to travel down into that area under his brand. It took us probably about 9 or 10 months to build the first shed and get chickens in it. And then as life happens, it got really hectic and busy. My husband applied for a Nuffield scholarship with my encouragement, and so in amongst all of this, we got married, and that was on my parents' farm. So that was a bit busy, but a lot of fun. And we then fell pregnant with our first baby. And just after we'd gotten chickens, I think we were about 3 or 4 months in, he had to go on his first Nuffield travel to America. So I took leave from work pregnant, not really knowing how we were running the business that well, and had my trial. Got to really dip my toes in very quickly. And then, he come home for a few more months, and then he had to do his 9-week travel commitment with Nuffield. And that was, 4 days after I had my baby.
Yeah.
So he left. I had a brand new baby. He came to the hospital, picked me up, took me home. And the next day we went to the airport, and he went off to China and was gone for the next, I think he was gone for 8 or 9 weeks. Yeah. So he missed out on the newborn stage, which was pretty sad, but my baby and I got to invest ourselves really heavily into the shed. We were waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning, packing a hot water bottle and heading off down to play with chickens, which was, interesting. The things you do.
To tell me more about that time, how many chickens and what was the daily routine that you and your newborn baby found yourself in?
So we have 8,000 birds in lay. And so at that stage, like I would get up at 5, we'd feed, and then we'd pack our bags and head down to the shed. We'd have a couple of hours down there, and then a couple of days a week, we'd have some staff come in to help us grade and pack the eggs. But mostly it was just me and him. So Davy's there as 5-year-old babe. We had a little, like a cot and a little rocky chair down there. And he just sort of sat beside me while I went about all my jobs. If I had to go into the shed with the birds, they're free range, but our system is set up so that like all the feed and the water is inside a central shed, and all the different age groups have access to that with internal fencing. But if he had to come in with me, I would just strap him on and put a little blanket over him, and we'd wander in and check on the chickens and do what we had to do in the shed. There was a lot of phone calls at all sorts of hours of the night asking questions to my husband in another country if I could access him. But I just learnt on the ground very fast.
I love that. For any of our listeners who are thinking, well, this happens when my husband goes away contracting, or it happens when, I've encouraged him to do a nut field or something like that, or they're going around and seeing clients nationwide, or they're going away to bull sales that'll take them away for a week or so. What's the advice that you would give them about what's the information you've got to correlate before they go away, and what are the specific questions you need to ask so that you're not doing those late night calls?
There's lots and there's nothing. Like a newborn baby doesn't know anything else. So I always said to myself, look, he just has to fit into my routine. He just has to come with me, and I just have to make a few adjustments time-wise, bring an extra bag of stuff. So in that sense, being my first child, I think that was probably luckier than later down the track. I was very lucky. He was a brilliant first baby. He fed, he slept, he was happy all the time. So in that respect, it was definitely easy. But in getting set up, I got Tom to run me through everything. I wrote a bit down. I made sure I knew who to call, who I could go and see if anything broke down. You've just got to try and be a little bit prepared, know how the systems work. I knew how all the motors worked. I knew where to go to find things to fix, feed chains, and I knew where all the instruction manuals were. That's helpful. Luckily, we'd probably started the business together ourselves, so I probably was a little bit more prepared than someone that just, walked in off the street. But still, there's a lot of questions and a lot of back and forth.
No, it's brilliant. Tickets are now on sale for the Harvest Her Power Empowerment and Skills Conference right here at the Taronga Western Plains Zoo in Dubbo, New South Wales on February 23rd and 24th of 2026. Purchase your tickets in the link below, and I look forward to seeing you there. This conference is for all women in agriculture involved in family farming businesses, no matter your role, no matter what stage of the journey you're on. This conference is for you. I'll see you there. So let's talk about how the business progressed and how you added the next 2 boys into your farming business.
Yes. So the business, from Tom's Nuffield Scholarship, he decided we wanted to go into rearing our own birds. So that was a big investment and a big research project for us as well, because it's a whole new business really. And there was a lot we needed to learn. It was very different from the eggs. So we spent a long time doing that and saving up for it. But we now have a 10,000 bird rearing shed as well as to our business. The additional 2 kids came along. Our second born was born before we built the rearing shed. I thought it would be super simple and easy, and it'd be just like our first. I'd go in, have the baby, come home. It did not happen that way. I went into labour, had to leave mid-shift at work, got to the hospital. They couldn't find his heartbeat, and so we were rushed into emergency. Luckily, Tom had come with me on that occasion. He normally wouldn't come with me, and he Yeah, this little one, they got him out. He screamed at first, but he had a few problems and he got whisked off to in a helicopter with Tom. Luckily, they could fit Tom on weight-wise, and he went off to Brisbane, and I stayed in Stanthorpe, obviously getting stitched back up on the table. So that was pretty hectic. I didn't actually get to meet our second-born son till I think it was at least 2 days. It was during COVID, so they wouldn't do transfers. So Tom had to leave our baby in Brisbane, catch a bus back to Stanthorpe and drive me up. So that was a bit hard. And then he had to dump me in Brisbane and head back to the farm because we weren't really prepared staff-wise to be away for a long period of time. So I spent 2 weeks in Brisbane with our baby in intensive care. He had bradycardia and sleep apnea. Mm-hmm. So he was in the cardiology ward in the NICU in Brisbane. And they were brilliant. They sent us home. We went home at first. He was on a caffeine treatment, but that didn't sit very well with his stomach and we had to be rushed back up and they eventually let us back out again on oxygen. So I brought this. He was probably nearly 3 weeks old at this stage, I suppose, baby home, and we were on oxygen. And I have many photos of me with a baby strapped to the front, an oxygen tank on my back, packing eggs. Because we had to go straight back into work again. And it was a bit different because we had a toddler running around this time. So life was busy.
Yeah, so much to unpack there, Jo. Wow, you are a superwoman. How did your cesarean scar hold up with, I mean, they usually say 6 weeks, essentially on bed rest. And here you are in the packing shed three weeks later with a newborn on your chest and oxygen tank on your back.
Yeah. Look, I've never been very good at following doctors' orders. I have a very nasty scar on my knee from an accident in high school that I did not let repair very well. Yeah, where the accommodation was in Brisbane was probably nearly a K away from where the baby was. So I was hiking it from day 3 up and down stairs to go and see him in hospital. So there's just a lot of pain meds, and the biggest thing they all say to you, like your physios and stuff, is you need to exercise, you need to move. And so I really ran with that.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but I survived. And yeah, here we are.
Yes. So during those early days of having the two on the farm, being back in the shed, was there something in particular that really helped you, but also helped you and your firstborn get through the day?
Happy kids, I guess. Generally, they were pretty easy. Like, although Andy had his complications, he was a very happily pleased baby. Our staff were brilliant at that stage. They were like having second grandmas. So there was always someone to cuddle a baby. Tom and I both have a bit of a go-getter attitude. Like, we just, get on with life. Yeah, so I guess we just took everything in our stride and we kept going. But that's probably about when I decided I needed better workwear.
Yes. So before we talk about the workwear, Jo, let's just double tap on staff, because staff for a lot of businesses make a massive difference. But I know there's also a lot of family farming businesses and a lot of ladies who are listeners of the podcast whose farms don't hire staff, and it can be quite daunting. So how did you go about hiring staff? What sort of contracts are they on? And we'll go and tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so staffing is a huge issue, and it is, everyone you talk to talks about how hard staffing is on farms and in small towns. We grade 2 days a week. So we hire people for our packing shed, and we've had a number of staff come through. Most people will stay for like 4 years roughly, and they're just casual staff. So they do like 5 hours, 2 days a week, and just low responsibility, but it's very fast paced. We try and keep a really good, positive work environment for them. We do morning tea, which is paid, and yeah, we just try and make sure that they can chat and enjoy their company. We always make sure that whoever we employ gets along with everyone else. That's really important for us. We've got to have a good work environment. And then part-time, like a farmhand type staff, when in the early days with the kids, we were so lucky the people we had employed were brilliant. They understood the circumstances we were in. They were happy for us to have the kids underfoot. Yeah, it's been tough. We're in the process of trying to hire someone again right now. And yeah, it is hard to find skilled staff that want to work on farms and don't want to go and get the big bucks somewhere else. Yeah, it's not an easy one.
What would be your hiring tips for when you are interviewing someone, just to ask the right questions to know if they're going to be the right fit?
Yeah, for us, because we are so family orientated, we just feel that we need to be really honest and open and make sure that we get that same response back from the people. If they're not a family orientated type person, then they're probably not going to be great in our environment. They're not going to like having the kids around. They're not going to want to teach them stuff or answer all their questions. Yeah, so having those good, open, honest chats with people and being like, well, look, this is the environment, this is what you're going to be doing, and these are the people that'll be around and will come and go. Yeah, that's been important for us. We've had a couple of staff that probably haven't fitted quite in, but they just don't stick around for long.
Yeah.
And the ones that do, like I said, we've had them for 4 or 5 years. It's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great to hear. So heading into workwear. So you now have a workwear shirt business specifically for mums and breastfeeding mums. I have had 2 of your shirts. I have absolutely loved them. I am no longer breastfeeding. My 4 kiddos are older now, but I have given them to one of my sisters who absolutely lives in them as well. Highly recommend it. But tell us more about that business, where it came from, how did you go about it, and how that slots into being a mum and a farmer and everything else that you do.
Yeah, for me, it was out of a need. Like, there's a few different brands out there at the moment, but when I had my first 2 kids, I just couldn't find anything that was practical, that had a collar and long sleeves. And I'm a little bit like you, like, I get sunburnt really easy. I like being covered up. And yeah, so shirts that buttoned all the way down the front, like, I always felt like I was showing everything off. And if the baby wasn't feeding easily, like, it was just, I don't know, I felt uncomfortable because I fed all the time in the public. Like, I was always feeding in front of our staff. My kids come with me everywhere. Like, I literally have a car seat in my delivery van. So yeah, I tried a few cheap, nasty things online that I just didn't like the material. They didn't last and they just weren't practical and they didn't look good on farm. I just wanted to put my daily uniform, like my work shirts, on, and I didn't want to have to think about it. And so I literally sat there one night, got the scissors out, and was like, well, this is what I want my shirt to look like. My mum did a lot of sewing when we were kids, so she was really helpful. And another lady in town who does some sewing, who was also in her, like, the young stages of babies. And yeah, I got them both to have a look at it, and we came up with a bit of a design and cut a few shirts up. And then I went and seen a designer, like a fashion designer, and she made me a digital pattern, which was quite a lengthy process. I had no idea. So much detail and in all the size ranges, which, yeah, that was a really good learning curve for me. Like, I'm not at all into fashion, and yeah, to speak to someone and understand it all I needed to do that. And then I just went and seen a few production companies and got some test runs done. Yeah, pretty much. And then, yeah, chose some fabrics and went out and got some of my friends to try them on that had little babies and were like, does this suit? Like, do you like it? Would you wear it? And I got a really positive response. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I absolutely loved mine. I pretty much lived in mine for the first 6 months. Most of my babies self-weaned about 6 months, but definitely for their first 6 months, I lived in it every single day on the farm. For those who haven't seen the shirts, I'm going to link them in the show notes below. But they've got this beautiful slit down the side where it's breezy, but it's private. Like, you can't tell that it's a breastfeeding shirt. And even when Bubby's feeding, there is no part of your boob that shows. It's really easy to latch. It's really easy to maneuver and work in. So once you've fed Bub, you can put them back in a carrier, or you can put them back in their car seat in the side by side, whatever it is that you're doing to get around to the farm. And they're completely sun protective, nice and breezy, nice and yeah. I loved, because I would feed in front of my in-laws because I worked with them on the farm. It was so nice to have a shirt that didn't expose you, like you were talking about, in front of your workers. it boosted my confidence being back down the paddock with a baby rather than feeling like I needed to hide away.
Yeah. And so many people have said that they've been able to feed longer just because they've had that confidence of feeding in public. Like they didn't feel like they had to wait another half an hour till they got home or they were out of sight, or they could just pop their baby on and off constantly for however long that fussy child needed to feed for. And that was really important for me in not having fiddly bits on the shirt. Like I didn't want buttons. I didn't want those dress zips that just fail or they catch your skin. I I wanted it to be something that I could literally just pull up, pull down, nothing was on show, get the baby in there and happy. Yeah, it just needed to be super practical and super comfortable.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love that. In this episode, I'd like to take a short break to give a shout out to Jo Maree Designs. This is Jo's breastfeeding friendly work shirts we've been talking about in this episode. Their signature breastfeeding work shirts redefine the early days of motherhood. They have brought together everything you love about long sleeves, collars, pockets, and sun protection. But they've made it with a touch of style and made it breastfeeding friendly. There are no zips, no buttons, no clips, or layers and layers of material. A one hand to lift your shirt and latch bub. This is perfect. I have lived in these shirts for many, many years and put all 4 of my kids through them. I've even then re-gifted them to my sister who is now having babies of her own. These shirts have lasted. They have been worn every day and they make such a big difference to breastfeeding in front of families, friends, work people, and workers here on the farm. Grab yourself some of their signature breastfeeding work shirts using the link in the show notes below. And now we'll get back to the episode. So we've talked about how the business has grown and you've introduced, 2 babies into the farm. So you then had a 3rd baby and you're now in the fashion industry. How do you balance everything? How do you fit everything in?
Yeah, how do we fit it all in? I don't know how we do it. So many people ask me this. The chicken business isn't that busy. Like it is busy, but it's not. There's lots of night work, there's lots of early mornings, but there's also lots of afternoons off as well. Yeah, we just we work 7 days a week. We never go anywhere. Yeah, it's not. We always say that we're one step down from a dairy farm. Like we don't have to get up at 5 a.m. every single morning, or 4 a.m. I should say, but we do have to be there because the chickens rely on us for feed and water. Yeah, I don't know. The kids just come with it. They embrace it. Now that we've got the baby chickens, like they're so super cute and the kids love that. They always, every batch we get, we have their friends out to see them. And I grew up on the farm. I always went to work with my parents. Like it's the way we've decided to bring our kids up. And yeah, we are very structured. Like we do every day, we kind of know what we have to do and we have a certain time frame that we have to do stuff in. So we're very organised in that respect, and we both share the load in that we both have different roles that we're good at and we focus on them. Yeah, just being organised. Communication is huge. Like we need to know where the other one is, what we're doing. Something needs to be picked up. Like we live on our phones, which is terrible, but it allows me to do the bookwork. It allows me to ring our customers. Yeah, so we've spent a lot of money investing in technology so that we can access the shed and all the technology in the sheds and all of our accounts and yeah, things like that. Advice for other people? I don't know. Wing it.
Jo, you said you don't get off farm very often, but earlier this year you did take time off and come down to the Harvest Her Power conference. And so you would have been away from home for roughly 4 or 5 days, was it?
Yeah, 2 days.
2
3
days?
days. We had 2 nights down there, yeah. With no kids. One kid.
One kid.
That's like having no kids, isn't it?
Well, when you've got 3 and you go away with 1, you're like, where's all this extra time coming from? What did you have to set up on farm before you went away to be able to make it to the conference?
Yeah, we had to make sure that there was staff to replace me. So we brought in just a casual staff member from town. And Not a lot else. I brought my bookwork with me. I brought my orders with me. I traveled down with my sister. She came as well. And that was lovely because we haven't spent time together. We live only 5Ks away from each other, and we haven't spent that much time together since she had kids 14 years ago. So it was a really great experience in that respect. But yeah, I just had to bring my computer. I had to make sure I was contactable. I pre-spoke to a lot of our customers and organised staff to cover my roles on farm. And daycare, obviously. Had to find babysitters for the kids because we had a chicken delivery while I was away as well. So Tom was unavailable.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's unpack that a little bit more, because I know there's a lot of audience members who want to get away to conferences such as the Harvest Her Power Conference, which will be in February in 2026, and tickets are on sale right now. If they are trying to prep to get away, what are the small bite-sized pieces in setting up to get off farm that they might find helpful from you, because you've done it, you'll do it again, to help stop the overwhelm for them? Like, okay, what do I start with and where do I go from there?
For us, identifying the reliable staff members and training them up. And we've obviously, Tom's been away multiple times over the years, and we've had to write things down, have detailed explanations, make sure we're contactable, run them through, give them trial runs of whatever tasks it is that they don't normally do, make sure that they've had a go at them a few times.
So you came 7 hours away to the Harvest Her Power Conference. Tell me about the driving logistics, getting here. Where did you stay? And how did you set yourself up in the routine of attending the conference during the day, coming to the cocktail party, but then also balancing that with your laptop that you brought to do your invoices, to do your other paperwork?
I was blessed. My sister drove, so I had my laptop sat up in front of us and did a bit of work on the way whenever we had enough phone service. The drive was great. We went from Tenterfield, Inverell down to Dubbo. So it was really nice to see all that country. I hadn't been in that way in many years. I brought our third little baby with us. I think he was 9 months old or something. And he was great. He travelled really well. He's very well behaved. It was great. He's very easily entertained. All of our children are. Yeah. So then we stayed. So we did that trip. We left early so that he'd get a bit of sleep in, and then, stayed in Dubbo for the 2 nights. Coming to the conference, it was brilliant in the sense that you had a little kids area set up, which was super handy. I didn't feel at all like I was in anyone's way. I mean, he did run through the crowd a few times, but that's okay. It was a bit of entertainment, a few giggles. But yeah, I felt like I could sit in the back. There was a couch there I could feed on. There was toys, reading books. Yeah, we could sit back there. He could play with stuff. There was food. It made it so much easier. It was near a door, so we could come in and out if we needed to. Change table and stuff. Made it feel really welcoming for someone with a baby. I've been to a few conferences before when our other kids were little with the Nuffield stuff and just different other things. And yeah, I've always kind of felt like people are generally very interested in your babies and care, but there's not a lot of space for prams. There's nowhere particularly where you can sit down comfortably out of the way and feed. It was an amazing thing to add, and I think it should be at every conference so that women feel like they can come and bring their families, because we're all doing it nowadays. We don't get to stay home and just bring our kids up on the farm. We are working mothers, all of us, as far as I can tell, and we need to be able to embrace that, and I think the rest of the world should embrace us.
Yeah, and I've had similar experiences where I've had to take the kids with me to conferences. If I'm going to get off farm, if I'm going to do anything, the kids have to come with me. I'm the primary carer.
Yep.
And so I definitely wanted to make sure that it was a welcoming space. It's a conference for women. Harvest Her Power is a conference for women on the land in ag. We're the primary carers. We always talk about the, lack of childcare options, or, it's an additional price to the farm, and depending if we're in drought or wherever, we may not be able to spend the money on additional childcare. So I wanted to make sure that it was inclusive, because I have always felt very self-conscious about being that mum who takes her kids to conferences. So yeah, it was an absolute thing that had to be on my list for the Harvest Her Power conference. So I'm so glad that it worked, in the sense that it did make you feel comfortable. It did make you feel included.
And I
Yeah.
didn't miss out on anything. It was in the same room where the speakers were. I could hear everything. I felt like I even still asked questions from that area. Like, yeah, I didn't feel segregated at all. So thank you for that. Thank you for having that space.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. I'm so excited that we are going to have it again in the same setup because we received nothing but positive wording about the childcare area. So if you are listening, you're wanting to come to the conference, please bring your kids. It's more than fine. They are welcome to be there. We have plenty of activities for them. And also bring a friend. Yeah, bring a driving partner. So you can share the drive, share the workload, whatever it is that you need to do to be able to get time off the farm to come. We want to make sure that that's as comfortable and as easy as possible for you. So we're having it in the same room this year. So what Joe is talking about is the conference room is glass walled and you walk out onto this beautiful grass patch. You can see the monkeys, you can see the turtles. It's not far from the cafe. It's just a really beautiful zone. So even when we're talking about really complex situations that happen on the land, that happen in family farming businesses, even when you get overwhelmed or you've got the kids there, there's this beautiful patch where you can go out and see the animals just being right there at the conference. The zoo also is just an incredible place where you can drive around in your own vehicle or you can hire bikes or cars or golf carts to go around and have a look at them. It is really a fantastic venue. They do all the catering. It was absolutely spectacular food. So really excited to see what the menu is coming up this year as well. Jo, what session did you enjoy the most?
Oh, tough one. Yeah, there was quite a bit. Like it covered so many different aspects from like mental health, how to work on a farm, coming in as someone that's not from the farm, which was a very different aspect from my perspective. Like I hadn't considered a lot of that before. Yeah, like the first aid course was really, really good. I thought it was interesting in the sense that it's not always focused from a farming perspective, and it was nice to be able to ask those questions that were more relatable to the situations we're in. Yeah, there was heaps. It was really good.
Yeah, Grace Larson from the Sisterhood
Yeah.
Project came up to run that first aid course. And the other thing that I really enjoyed about that course was that she actually bought child mannequins, which I felt was quite confronting to start with. But I thought, no, I've got 4 kids on the farm. I need to be able to do first aid that's going to suit the kids. So it was confronting, but it was incredibly insightful to be able to practice, CPR and on those child mannequins, but also to be able to do exactly those situations. And almost immediately after the conference, my kids got huge fever, not straight after the conference, but since the conference, my kids have had fevers on farm and they've come out in rashes and they've had respiratory distress because my kids have asthma. So it was so good being able to have that refresher course to be able to say, okay, I don't need to call an ambulance because of, the different tools that Grace was teaching. So that was so nice to have that in the background.
Yeah, and even just tips and tricks like different apps you can get to show your location quicker and easier in case you're not on phone service, like stuff that I guess I just hadn't come across before. It was really good.
Yeah, I love that. Love that very much. So, Jo, if anyone is sitting on the fence about whether they will or won't purchase a ticket for this year's event, if it is or isn't worth going, because sometimes we can go to conferences and we can think, oh, well, I know all this, or we can go to conferences and think, I don't know if I've got the value that the ticket is promising. What would you say to that?
Yeah, look, sometimes you just need to get off farm and everything seems expensive nowadays, my God. But yeah, you need to invest in yourself and yeah, take that time out, like even just from the mental headspace that it gave me to be away from farm, away from the kids, like, yeah, to talk to other people in similar situations. Yeah, it just gives you a whole new perspective and that sometimes is invaluable.
Absolutely. Jo, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Where can we find you on socials?
So Jo Maree Designs, simple as that.
Perfect. And that'll be linked in the show notes, everybody. So we look forward to seeing you at the 2026 Harvest Her Power Conference, which will be on the 23rd and 24th of February in Dubbo, New South Wales, again at the Taronga Western Plains Zoo. Tickets are on sale and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Ultimate Farm Wife podcast. A huge thank you goes out to our show editor, Krista Pathrath, CEO of the Rural Podcasting Network, helping rural entrepreneurs share their voice online. You can learn more about Krista and the Rural Podcasting Co. at their website in the show notes below. And to our creative powerhouse, Dakota Gorey, CEO, or as she likes to call it, the Creative Experience Officer of CGC Design. With over 5 years of experience in marketing, social media management, and website design, Dakota is passionate about helping businesses and brands of all sizes find their voice and stand out online. And Lou and her team at the Administration Agency, and of course to yourselves who tune in every week. Want to know more about her work or about Krista and how you can get involved? Make sure you're using the links in the show notes below. I'm Katja Williams, and this has been the Ultimate Farm Wife podcast. Until next time, take care, be kind, and keep showing up for your farm, your family, and yourself. I'll see you in another episode. Before you go, if you've been loving these farm life chats, I'd love for you to join me over on my other podcast too. It's called Absolutely Fabulous, where we dive into agriculture beyond the headlines and bridging the urban-rural divide. We'll deep dive into big conversations in ag, from the challenges to the highlights and what's shaping our future. It's a space where honest stories, laughter, and a good dose of farm life real talk goes on. So make sure to head to the link in the show notes, subscribe to the Absolutely Fabulous, and I'll play the intro for you now.
Hi, welcome to Absolutely Fabulous. My name is Gillian Fennell, also known as Station Mum 101. I love everything about agriculture, especially the people and especially communicating about what makes Australian ag so special.
And I'm Katja Williams, a beef, cattle and cropping farmer, and I love all things ag, and I'm also known as the Ultimate Farm Wife. Together, we are Absolutely Fabulous, and we are talking all things agriculture beyond the headlines.
And we can't wait to give our opinion to you, and we hope you enjoy it.